So recently we've been having a bunch of people ask us about calendar hacks, especially for busy entrepreneurs. I mean, we're married, we got kids, we got young kids, we're running an
Mhm.
8-figure business. Like there's a lot of things vying for our attention. So how do we function as humans, entrepreneurs, parents, spouses? And so we've been really diving into this, and I feel like we've identified, was it three?
Mhm.
Three essential calendar hacks that have completely transformed our lives in the last just year and a half.
I feel like Stephen and I want to preface this before even moving forward with these three hacks. And I do mean that they really have revolutionized our business as far as like efficiency and our connection and everything. But before that, I think if you were to ask me like 4 years ago, do you have any structure? Do you like structure? Do you have accountability? I would have been like, no, like I don't need that. I'm free for all. And we really didn't dive into what makes a successful week or month or year. And I feel like there might be this myth out there. And why I'm saying this is because I believed it for a while is like the structure will create like these rules that I don't want to fall into. And I don't like rules and I don't like being told what to do. But then we started moving further along in our business and having a team and then having one baby and then having two babies. And it's just like these things have to be put into place. Otherwise, I think you'll just find yourself being frazzled and not knowing what to say yes to and what to say no to. And this is all about structure. Again, I use that word. I wish there was another word, but I'm not thinking of anyone that,
Yeah, I mean, I
like,
feel like it's kind of this thing like structure gives you the framework and the support for growth and expansion,
yes, yeah.
right? And sometimes people, I think, with not as um, mature thinking around structure, will see
Hmm.
structure as bound, like as like unhealthy rules
Yeah.
that have to follow or restrictions, right? But like
Hmm.
the trick is like in the restriction there's freedom. Like you've kind of
Hmm.
said this too. You
Yeah.
guys will hear this. So if you're having a little pushback in your mind around, oh, like I'm an artist, I'm a creative, like
Hmm.
that's us too. Like we are in the creative industry for 10 years. We're still creating right now. And like artists do not like structure.
Hmm.
But at some level of influence and scale and capacity, if you want to be a person of high capacity, like you need to have some structure.
Hmm.
And so that's what we'll be talking about today. Just some light structures we put into place that have really given us a lot of freedom. And I mean, you got to look at the results, right? Like the results have been a lot more peace in our life, a lot less friction between us, deeper connection, supporting one another at a higher level,
Hmm.
way better open lines of communication. And so these three things we have sprinkled throughout some podcast episodes, but we really want to hit them real quickly. Three things that you could take away today and go deeper on if you want to in other
Yeah,
episodes.
and I would even argue that if you are the artist creative one, you're like, I don't want to, I don't want to flow. I want to wake up and figure out what I want. I would say the high level artist that is selling like multi-million dollar paintings and things probably has a team or somebody around them.
Yeah.
Either it's one person, their spouse, or one team member, probably helping do the more organization things. Otherwise, I would bet that that business would like scale and then crumble because they can't handle like the weight of fulfilling orders on time and going to the post office. So that
Yeah.
would be my guess.
Bob
So
Ross, baby.
yeah,
He's so chill, but
he's
like,
so
man, that
chill.
guy had like his
He
systems.
probably has
I
people
mean, I don't
around
know. Have you
him.
seen the Bob Ross documentary?
I have not.
He kind of got like, like people took his stuff and ran with it
Yeah.
after the fact. But like Andy Warhol, famous artist that actually like systematized his process
Mm,
so he could mass produce his creation,
that's good.
right? Like he was like one of the first, not one of the first, but one of the artists that really did that at scale. And that's why his name,
Hmm.
because he didn't just stay in small thinking. He thought like, if I'm going to reach a lot of people, I'm going to impact a lot of people. I need structured systems to actually do that.
Hmm. Alrighty. So that's just our heart in this. Like, it's not about more rules. It's not about more things to check off. It's
Yeah.
about creating more freedom in your life. And for us, we found a lot of freedom doing this and we want to share it with you. So, number one is creating what I like to call your dream week. And I remember like coming out of maternity leave when we had our son, Oliver. Ollie is now 2 years old. And I was heading back into work. I wanted to go back to work, but I also knew like I didn't want to feel frazzled at the end of the day. Our business had grown a lot in that time frame of being pregnant and having him. We now not only just had one kid, we had two kids and we had a huge business and a team. people that needed me to respond to them. And I was really feeling like if I am going to step back into work, I want to do so in a way that is healthy for my mental, emotional, and spiritual health, and to not feel like I'm being pulled in a million different directions. And so Steve and I really sat down together and we're like, let's create what we like to call your dream week. And this is not Chelsea like relaxing on the beach all day long, although that does sound nice. That's not realistic for my dream week. I really looked at the elements in the last couple of months that made a week really good versus a week that felt like I was frazzled and all over the place and running a million different directions. So you basically take 2 different weeks, a really good week that was awesome. And you felt like, man, I'm tackling those goals. I'm present as a mom versus the week that I was like, I was frazzled. I wasn't present. I was distracted, and really like analyzing and looking for patterns that made up those really good weeks. So practically for me, I would look at the patterns of a really good week and I'd say, wow, in those really good weeks, I had a coffee date. I had a date night sprinkled in. I had a Thursday morning, slow morning where I took the boys to the library. And then I added in those personal things first before the business. So I really protected my calendar time and said, here are the things in my personal life that give me life that I want to make sure I don't go without. So, how many times a week was I exercising? When was like my cutoff for work? How many meetings did I want to have? Like, those were all kinds of things that I put into my calendar first. And then I plan work on top of that. Because if you don't have a flow to your week, you'll just start saying yes to everything. And it's like, oh, this seems like a good business opportunity. Sure, I'll come speak on your stage. On this day, sure, that works for me. I don't know. And then you just start filling your calendar with days and agendas that at the end will just leave you again feeling frazzled and all over the place.
Yeah, I remember this, like, when we did the Dream Week, Chelsea got Dream Week first, and then
Hmm.
I did Dream Week a couple months after that. But I remember, like, we just had it laid out on a big piece of paper, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and we actually just color coded the different things. So, like, this is a personal solo thing. This is
Hmm.
a this is like a mom thing, right? Mom with the boys thing. This is a business thing, right? And actually having the different colors for those was really nice because we could actually see, does this feel out of balance? Like, does it
Hmm.
feel like too much work time and not enough mom time, or too much mom time and not enough work time? Right. Cause it's like you got both those passions and driven nature in both of those
Hmm.
areas. And if
Yeah.
you're too heavy in the business, you're going to feel you're going to get the mom guilt and like, I need it with the boys, and vice versa. If you're too much with the boys and you're like, I need to produce in the business. Right.
Hmm.
And so we just looked at it and we refined it. Honestly, like I would say
Hmm.
like every couple months, it was like, we're feeling a little shaky here. I need more time with the boys. I'm going to
Hmm.
cancel this, but it was really nice to have the colors. And then we got all the personal stuff in there first, got the business in there
Hmm.
next. And then what we did is we just created like basically boundaries around
Hmm.
it. So when opportunities came up or things to say yes to, we would filter it through that and be like, hey, Wednesday is a personal day. So if I'm going to get a massage, it's going to be on a Wednesday, right? Or I'm going to
Hmm.
do my eyebrows. You're doing them on a Wednesday, right? Or what's another thing to do? Workouts. Like those were certain days. Or
Hmm.
business, only these 2 days. And so it really helped when things came our way to fit it in those days.
Hmm.
So just to recap, if you want to do this, make a list of the things that give you joy, that make your weeks amazing. Fit those in your calendar first, then fit the business in between, and color code it so you can see how does it look, how does it feel, and then refine it over time. Now, just another tip, and this leads us to tip number 2,
Hmm.
calendar hack. Number 2,
Hmm.
switching costs, reducing switching costs. You may have heard us talk about this on the show before, but this has been one of the biggest breakthroughs for me. The concept is that when you're switching between one thing and another. I mean, I remember in the early days of our businesses, we would just do everything all the time. It was just so
Yeah.
reactive all the time. It's just
Yeah.
like, we're doing taxes and then we're doing creative stuff and they're creating content. We're writing a blog post. We're
Mhm.
answering an email. We're refunding a customer, like whatever it was. There's
Mhm.
all these different brain modalities. And they've actually done science on this, studies on this. When you actually switch between those things, there's actually a lag in like the brain modality shifting over. It can take 15 to 45 minutes. So if you
Mhm.
had back to back meetings and they're all about different things, like you might be, your brain's just catching up, halfway
Yeah.
through the meeting. And so oftentimes when you feel frazzled at the end of the day, where you're just like, man, I just want to like tune out, go to Netflix, or like, don't talk to me, ask me any decisions.
Mhm.
Like you guys have had those days, like you put the kids to bed and you're like, I'm done. Right. A lot of times it's not because you did a lot. It's because you switched a lot. That's the switching
Mhm.
costs adding up over a day. And so what we've done with the dream week and now my week is we've created themes to the days. So every day has a different theme and kind of brain modality, like the way we're thinking. So you've heard us say this before, but Tuesdays is this day. We're doing this all day. We spoke on a stage this morning. We spoke to our team right after that. We spoke on another person's podcast after that. We recorded an episode here, recorded another episode, create some content. So we're doing this all day. So
Mhm.
it's flowing. It's easy because we've done this all day. I'm
Mhm.
not jumping over and trying to do like tax prep in like the middle of this. That would be a total switching cost.
Mhm.
And so we create themes and like almost like buckets for the days
Mhm.
or themes. And the book 10X is easier than 2X talks about this. Actors and athletes do this. High level actors and high level athletes do this as well. They have preparation days, performance days, and they have recovery days,
Mhm.
right? They just have 3 styles of days, but they're not trying to do all three in one day. They're going to prepare for the performance, they're going to perform, and they're going to recover, right? And so find those themes, like for your, like, what do I really need to do? What are my superpowers I need to do in my business, in my life? Like Chelsea's week is more like business heavy on the front end and then family heavy on the back end,
Mhm.
right? My week is like I work in the business on Monday, so it's more a little bit more reactionary. It's like kind of admin stuff. Tuesdays is content here, and it's our day to do things together. Wednesday is I work on the business, so instead of in the business, I'm getting higher level picture, strategy, and thinking way further out. Thursday is my meeting day, so if it's a Zoom meeting, it's on a Thursday. I just do all my meetings on one day, and then Fridays is a personal day where I do personal networking, connections, investing in myself, going through courses, that's everything. So that's how I structure my week and I fit things into those buckets. So it's so nice to be like, hey, you want to meet on a Zoom? Thursday. Like I just do
Mhm.
Thursdays and I just don't do anything else. I just know Thursdays, just back to back Zooms. I'm just getting them all done. And that keeps my Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays
Mhm.
really open for those deeper work sessions where I'm actually able to do really effective work because I have a long chunk of time.
Mhm. And I would say with theming your days too, this is super powerful, especially in your personal life. One of the things I was finding myself doing when I was creating this dream week is I was scheduling personal appointments, like even if it were
Yeah.
off, like even if it were outside of business hours, I would schedule them any day. It was like a doctor's office would call me and be like, can you come in at this time? Be like, sure, doesn't look like I'm working. I'll go for it. But even that alone is just like, I needed to back up and be like, all of my personal appointments, I'm now stacking in the afternoon on this time. So when I call to make an appointment, whether it's for myself or for the boys, even if it's like an enjoyment thing like a massage, it goes in this time frame. And if that doesn't work out for the person I'm working with, for whether we have a scheduling conflict, it's like I will either find somebody new to do that service or I will just say, hey, I will book you a little bit further out. And I think that was also a big thing for me to really realize is being really strict about like, yeah, I actually don't do any personal meetings on Monday and Tuesday because I'm doing these things instead. And
Yeah.
I don't really budge in that area and people are fine with it and it works out. And I would really encourage you to do that.
Yeah, that's been huge. It's nice to know each other's calendars too. Like I
Yeah.
know Chelsea's themes of her days and like how she schedules stuff. So I know like, hey, if I want to schedule a date night with her and like get childcare and
Mhm.
let's go out, like I know what nights that needs to be on, you know?
Mhm.
And I also know like, if we're doing something together, it's gonna be on a Tuesday. Like we're gonna do it
Mhm.
on Tuesday. Hey, when you shoot an ad together, I get it all prepped and it's ready by Tuesday, right? And we already have time on the calendar blocked. I don't need to hit her up on a Thursday when she's trying to be off work and be like, hey, let's create an ad while we're at the park. Like that doesn't work. And I used to do that all the time. Like,
Mhm.
hey, we need an ad by this weekend. And then it'd be like, now she's working all week and you want to be more mom mode in
Mhm.
Thursday, Fridays.
Mhm.
And like, we've learned like, that's what we need to do to like have you have total peace in your mind and just be like, I feel like awesome in momhood and in business ownership. Any seasoned entrepreneur will tell you it's not about how much you make, it's how much you keep. We got to increase your income while decreasing your expenses. So, what if there's a way to decrease your taxes, to protect you against liability, and to open up doors to business funding for your business? This is where our friends at Prime Corporate Services come in handy. They're experts and they help our Rainmakers get structured in the right way. We worked out a deal with them just for our Rainmaker community to get you a free complimentary consultation with one of their experts. If you're starting a business and you want to get all your ducks in a row when it comes to the legal entity for your business structure, these guys are the go-to. For a similar package, you would pay like $1,200 on LegalZoom, but this company gives our Rainmaker family a serious hookup. Not only can Prime help you out with getting all your business entities set up, they can help you with your taxes as your business is rolling, and eventually help you with even estate planning for your family legacy. We put all the info on rainmakerfamily.com/deals. Go there. You can book a free complimentary consultation with Prime Corporate and get set up today. Again, that's rainmakerfamily.com/deals.
Before we move on to tip number 3, I want to say if you are not already in some kind of routine to end your workday transitioning to be with your family, I want to encourage you to create some kind of, I call it end of the day ritual. You could call it end of the day routine if you wanted, but that has also been extremely powerful for me because on my work days, I am in like go mode and I want to like conquer the world. And sometimes it's intense and my mind is in work mode and I'm thinking about a lot of different things. But in like 10 minutes, I told the nanny that I need to go pick up the boys, or, we have a play date to go to, or whatever it is on that specific day. And honestly, I found myself kind of around that same time that we came up with these 3 little hacks that we're sharing with you. Again, like at the end of my workday, I was finding myself like heading inside, doing my little 2-minute, 1-minute commute from my office outside to,
Walking.
walking to pick up the boys from the front family room. I found myself like in a million places, like trying to be present to have a conversation with Kai while also making my smoothie, while also like looking on my phone for the last message I need to send, while then again checking social media and, oh yeah, I need to write down this last. And you can see it's just like
Stressing me out just
frazzled.
hearing it.
It's just like, yeah, it
Yeah.
makes you exhausted just hearing me speak. And I think that's where a lot of moms are in because our mind is thinking about so many different things, especially if you're a working parent. And I think it's really important at the end of your workday to allow yourself some kind of cooling off or calming down routine. And that's exactly what it is for me. So mine is very simple. And I've shared this on social media before, but I'll look at the time. I'll give myself like 5 to 10 minutes. That's all you need. And I will like go through my calendar. I'll look at the next day and I will just go through and I will write. I'm a pen and paper girl. I'll write down the things that either I didn't get to, or maybe I have a random question for Stephen. And I will just kind of like close down my work brain and just know like this task will get done tomorrow. So I will
Yep.
do that really fast to release anything that's in my head that needs to get out. Then I will say 5 or 6 things that I'm grateful for out loud. So it's like, thank you that, we have an awesome team. Thank you that this challenge is going well. Thank you for the sunshine, whatever it is. I will just say a handful of things that I'm really grateful for, whether they're big or small. And oftentimes I'll even say like a prayer, like, thank you, Lord, or like, here's my, I'm concerned about this. And I just like lay it down right there. So I do that. And then I take 3 deep breaths. Because as you can see, I'm still kind of in this revved up mode. And I just want to like exhale anything that doesn't need to go with me into the house. I just like exhale it out. And I mentally make this shift inside where it's just like, okay, you're going to be okay. Work is ending and you are heading in to be a mom, and they are your highest priority. So you need to be full. It's like this pep talk that I go through. And I close my laptop down, put my laptop. I have this like wicker basket that I carry all of my work stuff in so I can just pick it up and carry it wherever I need to go throughout the house. And I pick that up and I walk inside and I am like turned off work. And that has been huge for me to have this end of the day routine where my mind and my body knows what's happening. And oftentimes I will change my clothes, usually into workout clothes or play clothes. I usually go on a walk with the boys right after I'm done with work. And that has been a tremendous help in me just knowing my mind telling my body, like, you are done with work, you can release it, and your boys are your highest priority. And so step into that. And that has been huge too. Again, it's not always perfect. I will check my phone from time to time on certain things or sending a DM or whatever. But that has really allowed me to like make that transition. So if you do not have something, you can do this if you work a 9 to 5 job, like when you're in your car going from your house to your job or vice versa, like you can have your own little routine that you do before coming inside. It's so beneficial for you.
Okay, so that was bonus tip
Bonus tip
2A.
2.0,
So we have a
2A.
third tip for you, calendar hack. Now, this is one, if you like this one, which I hope you do,
Mhm,
you could go deeper on. I believe it's episode 99, I want to say.
mhm.
We were trying to shoot for like, I think the 100th episode, and then we like got the numbers off. So it's 99. And we were celebrating our 100th episode basically by sharing this thing because it helped us out so much. And so episode 99, it's about the level 10 family meeting. And so the level 10 family meeting, the reason it's called the level 10 meeting is because afterwards you're going to be like, if you were a judge, you'd be like 10 out of 10. Right? That's how it makes you feel. So um, before we had these meetings, I feel like, again, being kind to our mind, switching costs, themes of the day, like we're kind of covering the day to day. But what happens after the boys, your kids go to bed, right?
Mhm.
You guys connect, we connect, right? After like I'm working, she working, she's mom and I'm dad. And like we're kind of doing
I'm
separate
working,
stuff.
she working. Sounds like a rap song.
It's just like we're doing our stuff and doing our thing. And
Yeah.
then we come back at the end of the day and we put the boys to bed. They're finally down. We come downstairs and it's just like, it's just like you want to like catch everybody up and do other things. And oh, what about this? And this thing came up and there's like this whole like list,
Yeah, and
right?
I feel like I need to just pause Steven for a moment. That was me coming downstairs to be like, oh, Steven like, is
I do it
a
like
lot
once a
better.
week, maybe. Chelsea was doing it every night.
Yeah, you guys, Steven's very, very, very kind. Thank you. But I was just finding myself at the end of a day. Again, we're in different places and we come together. We work together, but we don't work together every single
Yeah.
day, if you know what I mean. And like, we
And I
come
was feeling
together.
like I had to do a second day of work because it's like, I literally just did all these things and now
Yeah.
I have to update you on all the things I just
Yeah.
did. And so it was very tiring at the end of the nights, right? Which again, switching costs. Like it's like,
Mhm.
it's funny because like we work in a virtual environment, like a lot of our team is virtual. And sometimes we do stuff in a virtual environment that we'd never do in real life. Like
Mhm.
if we worked in an office, I wouldn't constantly be like jumping into someone's office and be like, hey, did you get an update on this? Like I wouldn't do that. It just like throws a wrench in their
Mhm.
day. And so, but we did this online on Slack. We just like jump into someone's DMs and just like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, so how can we be kind to each other and allow each other to like, just like, not have as much switching costs. So the thing that we came up with and it actually came from this podcast and interviewing other entrepreneurial couples. We kept hearing people say this thing and say this
Mhm.
thing. We're like, we should maybe do that. So we call it the level 10 family meeting. Okay. So the level 10 thing comes from how we actually run our meetings in our business. So it's really easy because we have the same framework we use
Mhm.
for our business, we just use in our family. But what it does, which I love, this is my favorite part, is we have a shared family note on our phone. And so for anything that's not time sensitive,
Mhm.
of course, sometimes it's like, hey, this thing just came up that needs attention now. And you
Mhm.
got to address that once the kids are down, you got to figure it out. But like for any like, okay, this person asked me to speak and it's in like 2 months from now. I'm thinking about maybe doing it, but it would require blah, 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 right? I put it in the family shared note. Okay. It basically gives you a bucket to dump all those things. And
Mhm.
so throughout the week, you can only bring up the essential stuff and you can focus on just connecting or doing your nighttime routines or
Mhm.
whatever it is you need to do at night to to help set you up for success for the next day and unwind. And so you don't have to go over all those things. You just put them in a bucket. And then once a week for us, we do Sunday afternoon.
Mhm.
We used to do Sunday nights, but don't do nights. That just didn't work for us. That might work for you, but for us, earlier in the day is way better.
Mhm.
And we just pull up that list and it's like, hey, here's all the things that came up this week that either are share infos, like, hey, this thing came up. And I need share info would be just like notifying, right?
Mhm.
Need info is like, hey, I heard you were researching, different contractors for this project. What'd you find out? So need info is like, hey, I'm looking for more information
Mhm.
on this or decision needed, right? Oh, this person invited me to speak. I'm thinking about doing it. What do you think? I want your opinion.
Mhm.
Decision needed. So basically we have those three categories. We just crank through those in one setting. I mean, it takes us probably 30 minutes to do this
Mhm.
meeting. And then off that meeting, it actually produces action items for the week. And we actually come up with things that like, hey, I'm going to do this. You're going to do that. And it gives that accountability. So every week we're looking back on it and we're holding each other accountable. It's like, you said you do this. I said I do this.
Mhm.
And then you can talk about the calendar thing because I missed that
Yeah, the
part
important part too is that we are looking at the calendar 10 days out.
on
So
that meeting.
on that meeting, yeah, because that's really important because you need to look at not just a week out, but those extra days out. And so we're really coming together. And this is business, this is life, this is house stuff that needs to be addressed. This is like trips we're wanting to plan. Like everything happens on that family meeting. And it's awesome because if, say, like, for instance, we've been wanting to book a trip for Stephen's birthday that we do every single year. And so we just chunk away at it week by week. And I know that I don't have to be up late at night throughout the week researching Airbnbs in this area because I know it will be getting taken care of on
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yeah. So that 10-day out thing's huge because we're in this together. Like, it's like, hey, we both want solo time with each of our boys this week. So let's get that in now. Like, how
Mhm.
can I watch the boys this night so you can go do that thing? And how can you watch the boys that night so I can go do that thing? So you're supporting each other's dream weeks by looking at the dream week and looking at the calendar 10 days in advance, looking for conflicts, looking for how you can support. Oh, we need to call a family member in. We need to hire a babysitter. Like, what is the thing that you can do to set yourself up for success? And 10 days out is, I don't know, we got that from someone on our show. And like, that was a game changer. Cause like, even just a week, then you like, don't think about that Tuesday. And it's just like, I don't know, you get a little off. So 10 days gets you, if you're doing it on a Sunday, gets us out to like a Wednesday, a week out and then 3 extra days. I don't know. I'm, I'm trying to do that. So, um, 10 days out just gives you a little bit more insight into
Mhm.
the future. And then also, like, if we have extra time on one of those meetings, we're going to chunk away at bigger goals for the year. Like, oh, let's plan this future trip. But we do it in small chunks where it's like, okay, this week I'll just find 3 Airbnbs. And the next week I'll bring them to the meeting. We can look at them together, say yes or no, or we need to find more. Right. So it takes these bigger tasks too, and you can chunk them down. So something you can do with yourself. You can do it with your partner. You can do it with your family. And if you want the framework, episode 99 goes like really in depth into like actually like the structure of the meeting and how we run it and how we keep it on time. So it's not something that's draining. It's something that's a level 10.
Those are our 3 calendar hacks that we have for you this week. I hope you take it and run with it. And we will see you on another episode of the Rainmaker Family Show. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Rainmaker Family Show. If you're not a part of our mastermind yet, I want to say I think you're missing out. Our heart here at Rainmaker is to create total abundance for you. That's why we're offering a free one-on-one family freedom design session for you, our faithful listener.
Yeah. If you want to hop on a call with our team, see if it's a good fit to build a business that creates time freedom for you, financial abundance, and helps you leave that thriving family legacy. That's what we're all about in our mastermind. You can grab a time on our team's calendar at rainmakerfamily.com/mastermind. Again, that's rainmakerfamily.com/mastermind.